Kristi, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to count macros. And if you stick with me to the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate your own macros. First, we need to know what a macro is and what does that even stand for. Macro stands for macronutrients. Macronutrients are a group of nutrients that provide your body with energy and the components it needs for structure and function. There's three categories when it comes to macronutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram. Fats have 9 calories per gram, and protein have 4 calories per gram. So we're gonna take these macronutrients and we're gonna figure out, based on our caloric intake, what percentage of macronutrient we're going to be eating to give us the best results when that comes to weight loss, muscle gain, etc. So how do we count macros? It's actually pretty simple, but we have to understand how to read a nutrition label. So on our nutrition label, the 3 most important things that we're gonna be looking for when we're counting macros is the first line, and that says total fat. That's gonna give us our fat, which is what we just talked about. Then we're gonna have total carb, which is gonna be our carbohydrate. And then finally, we're gonna have protein. So those are the 3 categories we are looking for. The first thing that you're gonna need is a scale, because we're gonna be weighing and measuring how much we're putting into our body. So you can get a scale. I got this one for $19 at Target. They have cheaper ones and they have more expensive ones. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. All we needed to do is weigh your food. And I would highly recommend it coming in different units. So we can do ounces, we can do grams, we can do milliliters, and we can do fluid ounces for anything liquid. First thing you're gonna do is turn on your scale. You can change the unit just by clicking units. I personally like to weigh everything in grams. The next piece is always make sure you remove the lid. You're gonna put whatever it is that you're measuring on the scale. We're gonna tear out the scale back to 0. So if we click that tear button, now my scale is reading 0 with this jar of peanut butter on there. If I wanna eat 16 grams of peanut butter, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove 16 grams to where my scale now says 16 grams. I'm gonna put that on my meal or whatever it is I'm having for that day. So I go into my FitnessPal and I'm gonna hit add food. I can choose to scan this label, which makes it super easy. So I scan my label, it pops up. So it pops up with 1 serving size is 2 tablespoons, or on the label, it says 2 tablespoons is 32 grams. So I know that I did 16 grams. So I'm going to adjust my serving size to click and say 1 gram. Then how many servings of my 1 gram did I have? 16. So now when I enter that into my FitnessPal, this 16 grams of peanut butter or 1 tablespoon is 95 calories, 3.5 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat, and 3.5 grams of protein. I'm gonna click the check mark to add it to my meal, and now I've started counting macros. I just showed you an example of a fat, which was peanut butter, that also has a label to scan. What if my food doesn't have a label? Like this chicken breast. So this is gonna be a really good example for a protein. So we'll call this dinner tonight. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take whatever it's gonna go on and I'm gonna put that on my scale. Again, we wanna tear out our scale. So when I say tear, that means take the scale to 0. So that way our plate is not included in our measurement. For protein, I actually use ounces. So everything else is in grams except for protein. So in protein, I'm gonna use ounces because that's usually how it is on the packaging. I'm gonna add my chicken breast to my plate. So this chicken breast is 4.2 ounces. So then from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my FitnessPal. I'm gonna find dinner. I'm gonna click add food. Next, I know it's a grilled chicken breast. So I'm gonna type in grilled chicken breast with no spelling errors. Then I'm gonna hit search. Tons of grilled chicken breasts come up. If you know the brand, you could find that as well. So for instance, I know this is a Simple Truth. There was my spelling error. I knew I'd get one. Simple Truth chicken breast. So I then click that chicken breast, and this is 4.2 ounces. So it naturally came up with a serving size of 4 ounces and number of serving is 1. So I'm gonna go into serving size and I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it from 4 ounces to 1 ounce. Just like we did with the peanut butter. Then I'm gonna change my number of servings to 4.2. So 4.2 times 1 ounce gives us our 4.2 ounces of chicken. Then I'm gonna hit save. This chicken breast is 115 calories, has 1 gram of fat, and 33.6 grams of protein. To summarize, macro counting is really not that hard if we can understand what a carb, fat, and protein is. The last thing I'm gonna walk you through is how to calculate what your macros should be. This is gonna be a lot of trial and error, and everybody's bodies are different. Some people do really well with a high carb diet. Some people do really well with a high fat diet. A lot of us, if we're looking to build muscle and to gain mass, we wanna be focusing on protein. So let's go ahead, let's touch on how to calculate your own macros. Now for the fun part. Everybody wants to know, what macros should I be eating? There's lots of free websites online that calculate your macros. I'm gonna give you what the Precision Nutrition Level 1 teaches you. So to determine your calorie needs, that's where we have to start. It's gonna be based upon your activity level. Then we're gonna want to determine if we wanna lose weight, maintain weight, or gain weight. Once we have our activity level and our goal, we are gonna take our goal body weight times this multiplier. So let me give you an example. We have different multipliers for sedentary, moderately active, and very active. There's also 3 categories based off of weight loss, maintain, and muscle gain. So let's say we have a 140-pound person that wants to lose weight. So we're immediately gonna go to the weight loss column. They're gonna be moderately active, meaning they work out 3 to 4 times a week. Our multiplier is gonna be 12 to 14 in this table. So we are gonna take 140 pounds times 12. That's gonna give us 1,680 calories. We can also take 140 pounds times 14. That's gonna give us 1,960 calories. So they are gonna be eating within this range. I highly encourage you to start on the low end to make sure that we can meet those macros. When we begin to meet our macros, our metabolism begins to fire and we begin to burn through everything that we've been feeding our bodies. Once we start to feel that we are hungry and we've been regularly meeting these macros for at least 2 weeks, then we can bump up from there. Next, we're gonna determine your goal macronutrient split. And a lot of this is gonna depend on kind of the type of body that you have. Now, don't get too bogged down with what type of body you have. We can kind of go with a generalization if you have no idea. But when I'm discussing body type, I'm talking ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph. So an ectomorph is gonna be naturally thin with skinny limbs. A mesomorph is gonna be naturally muscular and kind of that athletic build. And then an endomorph is gonna be naturally broad and thick. Once we determine which of those categories you fall into, you're gonna have your ideal percentage split for those macronutrients. Per the Precision Nutrition Level 1, it's suggested that ectomorphs, so the naturally thin with skinny limbs, start their protein around 25% of the calories, 55% carbohydrates, and 20% fat. If mesomorph, you're gonna go more at that 30-40-30 approach. That's gonna be 30% protein, 40% carbs, and 30% fat to start. If you're an endomorph, you're gonna go protein at 35%, carbohydrates at 25%, and then fat at 40%. So you can see each of these macronutrient splits is a little bit different, and that's because we're all very unique and our bodies are very unique. So once we have our ideal macronutrient split, I'm gonna show you how to take your total calories and figure out your macro number. Going through a full example, I'm gonna draw it out for you. So we have our 140-pound female who we're gonna say is a mesomorph. That means the ideal split is gonna be 30% protein, 40% carbohydrate, and 30% fat. The goal is going to be weight loss. We calculated calories as 1,680 to 1,960. So we're gonna find somewhere in the middle and start the calories at 1,750. So our next step is gonna be to calculate protein first. We're gonna take 1,750 times 0.30 to get us 525 calories. For carbs, we're gonna take 1,750 times 0.40 to get us 700 calories. For fat, we're gonna take 1,750 calories times 0.30 to get us 525 calories. Always double check this, make sure it adds up. If I add those 3 things, it becomes 1,750 calories total. Then, now we're gonna divide it by the calories per gram. So for protein, we're gonna take 4 calories per gram. So we're gonna take our 525 calories, which was 30% of our 1,750 calories, and we're gonna divide that by 4 to give us a macro of 131 grams of protein. For our carbohydrates, same thing, 4 calories per gram. So we're gonna take the 700 calories that we calculated from taking 40% of the 1,750 calories. We're gonna divide that 700 by 4, and we're gonna get 175 grams of carbs as our macro. Then finally, we're gonna take our fat, which is 1,750 times 0.30 for 30%. Again, 525 calories. This time we're gonna divide by 9 because there's 9 calories per gram in fat. So when we divide 525 by 9, we're gonna come up with 58.3 grams of fat. So our macros for a 140-pound mesomorph that wants to lose weight, that has a moderate activity level, is gonna be 130 grams of protein, 175 grams of carbs, and 58 grams of fat. Remember, this is going to be your starting point. From there, we're gonna adjust based off needs and based off of feeling. The best thing about macros is you can tailor your diet, carbs, protein, or fat, to make you feel the best and support your goals inside of the gym. I hope this was super helpful. I know it was a lot to digest. Macro counting can be very intimidated. I know when I started, I was super nervous. I think the most important thing is just kind of starting somewhere, because it's gonna be a lot of trial and error, and there's gonna be a lot of things that have to be adjusted, but we only learn if we try. So if you found this interesting, please drop whatever you found interesting in the comments below, or let us know if you want to see more on this topic, maybe a little bit of a deeper dive, or if there's anything else when it comes to calorie counting, macro counting, nutrition in general, we would love to bring that to you. Have a great day, and please, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to our channel.
Stepping out flat, body hot like July.